Alright, toy fans, so here's something I wanted to show off for a while. This is my Star Trek collection. Now, everything you see here is basically all of the figures I've got, all of the Minimates I've got. You can even see some of my DVDs and Blu-rays in the back there. You are not seeing my Hallmark collection, which is pretty extensive. I've been collecting that for years, and perhaps in another video I'll go ahead and take a look at those. But as you can see, I still have some stuff in box. I've got a Nausicaa off there to the left, and then I've got a a Malcolm Reed, still in the packaging with his bridge station. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at this, because even 13 years later, the batteries on this thing still work. Alright, so that's that. Let's go and take a look at the Minimates up close. We've got the standard yellow-shirted Kirk, came packed in with a con and dress uniform, and then we've got the San Diego Comic-Con, at least initially San Diego Comic-Con Captain Kirk that came with the Tribble Enterprise model, and we'll look at the Enterprise here in a second. There we've got the 2-pack with Picard and Hugh. We've got Gul Dukat and Cisco. We've got movie Picard with the Borg Queen. And we've got TV series Cisco there. Season 4 with the goatee with a Jem'Hadar soldier. It's possible that the Cisco needs to be switched between the two pairings there. I don't remember which Cisco came with which figure. We've got Admiral Kirk with Khan from Star Trek 2. We've got Captain Janeway in 7 of 9. The only Voyager articulated figures that Diamond Select has given us so far. And then we've got Captain Archer with a member of the Xindi Council. I always forget that guy's name. Coming up here, we've got my Art Asylum figures. We've got the Enterprise characters. T'Pol on the left, the Vulcan. We've got Trip in his EVA suit. We've got Captain Archer in the back. Travis Mayweather, Malcolm Reed, Klang the Klingon. It's a little dark back there. We've got essentially first appearance Kirk, the Where No Man Has Gone Before Kirk, which I believe was an Entertainment Earth exclusive, or possibly even Action Figure Express. That's how old it is. We've got the Tapestry Picard, which initially came with the Q Continuum Fan Collection DVD. If we go down here, you'll see it was this set of fan-selected episodes that came with a flyer that you could get that special edition of Picard. All you had to do was pay shipping. We've got Ro, we've got Geordi, Wesley, Dr. Crusher, Worf, Picard, Counselor Troy. There were a few versions of her. Riker, O'Brien. That's, of course, his Next Generation version. They also did a Deep Space Nine version. We've got basically the entire wave of Nemesis figures. Ron Perlman's Viceroy. We've got Tom Hardy as Shinzon. We've got Data from Nemesis. Captain Picard. We have Timeless Geordi. This is from an episode of Voyager where we saw into the future and Geordi had become a captain. That actually came with the Time Travel Fan Collective set, which is this one right here. And you got a mailer just like you did with the Q Collective and mailed away, just paid shipping, and you got that exclusive Geordi figure. We've got Nemesis, Dr. Crusher, got Spock, Kirk, Uhura, Bones, the original appearance of Khan, and then we have a Deep Space Nine figure from the episode Trials and Tribulations. It's Dr. Bashir on the body, basically, for Dr. McCoy. Now, these Star Trek figures, I believe, are slightly out of scale with the rest of the figures in the line. They were actually molded a little bit smaller than they were intended to be, so there was a second set of figures that were released a few years later that were actually a little bit taller. And then as for that Minimate Enterprise, you can go here to the top of my other shelf. Some of the stuff you guys have seen before. I've got both versions of Jazz from the first Transformers film. Probably my favorite character from that movie, and the biggest shock for me when watching it, because I didn't expect him to die. But we've got the standard silver version, and then the G1 repaint of the figure. We've got the Marvel Select Juggernaut that you guys have seen, the Hellboy that came packed in with the film. We've got the X2 Roto Nightcrawler, Marvel Select Hulkbuster, which you've seen me review, that old Spider-Man bank you've seen before. Of course, the Generations Rhinox, and then I've got the Hero Squad, or the Robot Heroes version of Rhinox next to him. We've got the vintage Tarantulas Transmetal Transformer chewing away on a clone trooper. And then we have the Generations Waspinator with the Robot Heroes Waspinator, and the Generations Rat Trap with the Robot Heroes Rat Trap. And then we've got the Minimates Enterprise. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it from this angle, but that bridge dome does actually lift up. it's going to cooperate, and there are actually triples inside. I'm not going to get it from this angle. But the bridge does lift up, and there's a captain's chair inside, tons of triples, and then even the deflector dish will flip down, and you can store your Kirk inside the hull of the ship if that's what you want to do. So there is largely my Star Trek collection, again, without the Hallmark ornaments or really looking at any of the comic stuff I've got. But as somebody who considers themselves a pretty big Trekkie, even though my collection's a bit modest by some standards, I'm actually pretty proud of it and enjoy it quite a bit.